Dr. Mindy Shaw here, and welcome to another episode of Teaching Humanity Remotely. Today, once again, I just want to say timing is everything, and being patient, and not just patient in I'm waiting in line and I feel okay and I'm not upset, or someone's really rushing and I let them go ahead of me in line or something, but patient in the way of the truth. You know how like when parents are not getting along and a parent will say something terrible about their partner to their children and how that's so not healthy to do. And another parent will be able to just never say anything bad about their partner or their ex-partner, knowing that in time the children will grow up and they'll see the truth anyway. I'm talking about that kind of patience. That kind of patience where the truth always comes out. It just does. And the more connected I can be to my own truth, the more comfortable I can be with myself in my truth, the more patient I can be in just waiting it out. And when I'm uncomfortable, when I need to prove my point of view, when I need to convince somebody else that my truth is the truth, then I lose all patience. And what happens there? Well, I'm going to tell you what happens there. In that situation, I'm full of ego and I need to be right and I have no patience. I also, when I'm full of ego, I'm not at my best. When I am full of ego, I'm not giving, this is my experience. When I am full of ego, I'm not really caring about what's around me. I'm only being self-involved. And I'm going to share this. When my son was in the hospital, the doctors and nurses that were full of ego, they had nothing to do with the patient and their families. And the doctors and nurses who were really great were completely present to the patient and the family. It was the best learning lesson I had about this topic. It's so incredibly true. If I am full of ego, I'm not caring about you. In that moment that I'm full of ego, I'm acting like a narcissist. I'm caring about me and I'm caring about convincing you that I'm right. I have no patience there. I'm not present. I'm not present to the other. I'm only with myself. When I am egoless, then there's an emptiness in me and the experience itself can fill me. And that, my friend, is where patience can live. And it's where it does live in me. And so timing is everything, but the real issue here is to know that there is a season and a time for everything. And, sometimes the seed, it's time to plant the seed, and then it's time for the seeds to grow, and then it's time for the seeds to blossom, and then it's time for the seeds to transform, and again and again and again. So patience is really important and timing is really important. And if somebody says to me when I'm really exhausted, oh, by the way, you need to do this one last thing. It's like, oh, I can't. I'm exhausted. I can't do it. I don't have the energy. I feel like I have no gravity. I can't do more than I can do. But if someone says to me when I'm full of energy, oh, let's go do this, I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. So there's also that piece of it. I'm sharing this in the most practical way with children. When parents want their children to do something, like make their bed or put away the dishes or something like that, what I recommend in order to keep the peace, let's say there's 3 things a day that everyone needs to get done. You can have a chart and you can say to your child, these are the 3 things that need to happen before you go out and play. You need to make your bed. You need to brush your teeth. You need to put your dishes in the sink. I will not bother you as soon as you get up and say, make your bed. But what I'll say are these 3 things need to happen before you go out. As long as these 3 things happen, you do it at your own rate. And what that does is that it gives the child an opportunity to have some say, some power in how they structure their time. It gives them a little independence within your guidelines of control. They also have a little bit of control. And once you make that agreement, you have to make sure that your child has buy-in and says, oh, I think that's fair. I think it's fair for you to say that I need to brush my teeth, make my bed, and put my breakfast dishes in the sink before I go out and play. And so you know that they have a buy-in. And if they don't do those things when they say they're going to in their timeline, then they get to not go out and play. And if they go out and play and because you didn't see that they didn't fulfill their agreement, then you call them back in and they have to do what they have to do. But otherwise you give them a little leeway, and that gives them the opportunity to have a little time management and a little responsibility, and yet it's set up with your guidance. So there's like you're sharing the control and you're giving them some control, and see how that goes. And also in a relationship, I also think there should be very few things that are musts. I don't know what your criteria is for a must, but I have this really great friend who is living with a daughter who's in her 20s, and they're learning how to get along. It's a small little house and they're living close together, close quarters. And I said to my friend, you should have like 3 things that are a must. Like in the morning, you need to say hello to each other. Or when you come home from work, you engage for 5 minutes. Or the dishes have to be washed. But don't keep it like there's 10 things that have to happen, because then that will never happen. See what's really important and then be patient and be able to give each person the wait time that's needed, because some people might be more talkative in the morning and some people might be more quiet in the morning, and to not make it where it's all about you, but that I see what I need, and you know what else? I can also see what you need, and based on that, we can meet in the middle. So let me know if this works for you, and if you understand the gift of patience, because the person who's most frustrated when they're not patient is the person who's not patient. So and then it does make that person frustrate a lot of other people, because that impatience can make you nuts and make you not a pleasure to be around. And after all, these podcasts are about how to connect and be fulfilled in relationships with others. So until next time, please let me know if you have any questions, concerns, issues you want me to discuss at learnwithmeremotely@gmail.com. Be well and happy interacting.